Hey kids, I don't know how you landed here, but since you have, welcome. I was going through some history and I feel I found something neat that I'm going to share with you now. But before we begin, I'm not this guy. I'm no military historian or anything of the sort. I'm probably eschewing many important bits of information here and there and exaggerating a lot to make the story look that much more fantastic. It's only to catch your attention and leave you inspired. So don't take anything I say seriously at all. It's August of 490 BC, Athens, and the people are panicking because the Persians had landed somewhere northeast of Athens, and everyone knew what they wanted: destroy, pillage, and take revenge, as Athens had sent ships to support the rebellion against King Darius a few years back. It is said that the Persian army was 80,000 men strong, hundreds of ships, great cavalry, and the best archers in the world. Puny Athens, in the meanwhile, had only 10,000 men. Being this humorously outnumbered, they did what anyone would do: ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. We all need a little help every now and then. So picture this: our Athenian messenger, the original marathon man, sprints all the way to Sparta. He's like the FedEx of ancient Greece delivering the urgent package of "Help us" or "We're toast." But what does he find when he gets there? Spartans are having a moon festival. Now, I'm not saying they were partying harder than Dionysus on a Saturday night, but fighting during their lunar shenanigans was a strict no no. The Spartans were sympathetic, however, and were moved by the words of the runner, and told him, "Hey man, relax, we'll save you, but only after the festival is over." All was not well in Athens, though, as wealthy Athenian communists who despised the Athenian democracy were trying to betray the city state. Now the Athenians would have to fight the Persians alone and possibly the filthy communist traitors to boot. Now all the leaders gathered to discuss how best to defend Athens. Everyone thought concentrating the soldiers outside the city and defending it in a siege was the best available option. Enter our champ, Miltiades. Miltiades? I don't know, I'll call him as Miltiades from now on. This bad boy said, "Screw these plans, we attack." The first step of his plan was to immediately march the army to block a narrow pass between the Persian soldiers and Athens, halting the Persian advance on land but leaving Athens open to an attack by sea. He managed to get all the leaders to vote for his plan, and a few days later, they reached the pass. They then saw Persian soldiers, tents, and horses cluttering the land as far as the eye could see. Their ships cluttered the coast. What they saw was the full concentrated might of their enemy. Both armies were caught in a staring contest, with neither of them willing to move from their current positions. For the Athenians, they had no choice. They had to hold their position and wait for Spartan reinforcements, as they had no cavalry and were hopelessly outnumbered. The Persians held as they did not want to engage the Athenians in a melee where their numerical advantage wouldn't matter in the confined pass. It was the dawn of August 12th when Greek scouts finally reported that the Persians, under the cover of darkness, set sail for the Bay of Phaleron outside Athens while leaving around 15,000 soldiers behind to take the city by sea and surround the Athenian soldiers. Our boy Miltiades was the only leader to feel happy about this development. He sprang to action and said, "Now we attack." Initially, people thought he'd lost his marbles, as even now the Persians still outnumbered the Greeks, they still had archers, and they still had cavalry on their side. Miltiades, however, convinced them to attack, suggesting the other leaders that the Athenian communists might betray the city from within and open the gates for the Persians coming by sea. It was 6 a.m. and the Athenians attacked. They were so fast that the archers failed to have significant effect on them, and now the battle had to be fought hand to hand. The Athenians proved to be the better warriors and soon won the battle, with less than 200 men having died. So now came the crazy part. They were exhausted and they had to return to Athens in time to defend it. They had 7 hours and a journey of 24 miles. So they ran. in full battle gear with thoughts of their families facing their doom at the hands of the Persians. It was around 4 p.m. when the fastest among them managed to reach a point overlooking the landing site of the Persian fleet. Soon, the rest managed to reach as well. They were ready, exhausted but ready. The Persian fleet reached in a few minutes as well, and they were horrified at what they saw. Thousands of Athenians, covered in dust and blood, standing there ready to welcome them with a fight. The Persians soon realized what happened and left. Athens survived. You see, kids, if things did not go the way they did, the history we would be reading today would be that much more different. Miltiades' plan worked because it was based on sound and timeless principles. When someone powerful attacks you, do everything in your power to first divide them and defeat the smaller forces one by one. To quote the sword saint Miyamoto Musashi, as your army faces the enemy and the enemy appears powerful, try to attack the enemy in one particular spot. If you're successful in crumbling that one particular spot, leave that spot and attack the next, and so on and so forth as if you were going down a winding road. When the Athenians had blocked the pass was narrow, and the Persians had two options because of that. Fight them in a bloody battle where their numerical advantage would count for nothing, or sail around to Athens itself. The Persians, however, decided to divide their forces and lay siege to Athens before the Spartans arrived. So, kids, in life, we may be paralyzed when facing situations like these. Multiple problems, bad options, and thoughts that time might somehow solve these. But problems, when piled up, eventually will overwhelm you. So, the wisest action in such cases is to take a risk before you get surrounded and forcing the problem to divide itself. That way, you'll have multiple smaller but manageable problems to deal with. And like we saw, the best way to do that is to occupy the center like the Athenians. I hope you all learned something today and found this useful. To everyone still watching, I wish you all the success in the world. Until next time, goodbye.